Hi, I'm actually filming this somewhere a bit different. I have to stay at a hotel tonight for various work slash medical reason. Well, actually, not medical reason. It was just a health check I've got to get done, and it has to be done early in the morning, and so I have to sleep closer to the hospital, and therefore I have to stay in a hotel tonight. And this is a part of Auckland City. There's the Sky Tower, which is probably the most famous, or maybe either the Sky Tower or the Harbour Bridge, which is blocked by that building right there. If that building was not there, you'd be able to see the Auckland Harbour Bridge, but it's not. But that there is the Sky Tower, which is the tallest thing in the city. And this is the eastern side of the central city, kind of the quieter side. And see in the distance there, that kind of S road, that's the motorway, which is quite busy because it's about 6 o'clock at night and people are going home. And there's the water there is the upper harbour of the Waitemata harbour. Down there, that's St. Patrick's Cathedral, which was the first Catholic cathedral built in the city. This is all very interesting stuff. Could be like a tourist guide, couldn't I? And over here, if again, that big building's in the way, but if that building there, that one, if that wasn't there, you'd be able to see my old apartment building, which I used to live in when I was a bachelor, back about 15 years ago. Basically, I lived across the road from the Sky Tower Casino. Not that I ever went into the casino, but you can see the satellite dish, that's TVNZ, their main offices. I don't know what that whatever thing is. What's that all about? I'm not sure. So you can see out of the distance there is kind of West Auckland. Over there is the North Shore, which is where I live, over that bridge. You can see the bridge is lit up now, or starting to be lit up. But like I said, the building's blocking it. And then over here we have some office buildings. The ANZ Tower. So yeah, I've had a bit of a different day today because I've just been kind of hanging around the city, and went out and looked to buy some CDs. Now hopefully this works because it's a bit dark. Let's see if I can turn this on. Where the hell is it? There we go. Hey, it worked. Move this stuff. I probably need something to prop this up with, don't I? So yeah, I just kind of spent a few hours before checking into the hotel, going to all the various CD or music shops in the city. And I've talked about this topic many times before. Let's get something to prop up. And the fact that there really aren't many music stores remaining in the city, you know, where you can buy physical. That's a bit better, maybe. Yes. Where you can buy things. And the ones that are left are increasingly disappointing. And today, that remained the case, unfortunately. I'll say that I was going in with the intention of buying a Ween album, any Ween album, except for Chocolate and Cheese, because I own that already, but especially White Pepper or the Mollusk or Quebec. I've been really listening to a lot of Ween over the last 3 weeks, a lot of Ween, and to the point that I always liked those albums, but I always liked the Mollusk, but I never listened to them as much as I have in the last 3 weeks. So I've come to really love them, especially White Pepper. And so I wanted to buy them. So I went in with the intention to buy them new, you know. I wasn't expecting to luck out and find them secondhand. First place struck out, JB Hi-Fi. They had nothing. What are they? They had a Devin Townsend album, Infinity, the the 20th anniversary edition, which looks tempting, but not much else. Then I went to Marbeck's and they had no Ween, and not much else either. They had a copy of Sol Invictus by Faith No More, the most recent, the reunion album from Sol Invictus. From Faith No More in 2011, 10? No, whatever, about 10 years ago, 15 years ago. It was $15. I didn't buy it. Then I went up to Real Groovy, which is what this bag is from. Real Groovy, Auckland, New Zealand. And so, what did I get? These are all second-hand, these ones, because I've said before, Real Groovy is a mixture of second-hand and new. The CDs are mostly second-hand, and it's a crapshoot what you find there. Sometimes you can come across gold, but I'd say over the last few years, very hit and miss. And today, kind of the same. I just kind of got, these are not things I've ever really thought, I need this or I want this. I saw them and I thought, oh yeah, it's not bad. It's not, probably I'll never see this again, so. First one here, I've seen this around before, and I'm not exactly sure what it is. It's by the band Air. Now, I love Air. I've talked about Air before. Specifically, I love the albums Talkie Walkie, Pocket Symphony. Those are my two favorites. I also like Moon Safari. I also like 10,000 Hertz Legend. I also like Love 2. I also like, what else have they done? Oh, their Virgin Suicide soundtrack that they did. Basically, I didn't really like the Moon one they did. Anyway, I'm not exactly sure what this is, but it's by Air, and it says Premiers Symptômes, Premier Symptôme in French, I guess. This came out in 1999. And that means it's obviously after Moon Safari, but I think before 10,000 Hertz Legion. And so what have we got here? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 songs, and I don't know what they're taken from there. It's all in French, so mixed by, are they like remixes maybe? But I don't recognize any of the song titles. These aren't kind of songs off their albums. At least I don't think they are. Modular Mix, Casanova 70, Les Professionnels, Je dormi sur le loup, Le soleil est près de moi, sorry, California, Breaks On, and there's the duo, J.B. Duncal and N. Godin. Is it Jean Benoit and Nicolas, I think? So I literally have no idea what it is, but it was $3. And so I was in the mood to spend money today. That's the thing. That's the kind of thing I was thinking as I was striking out. It's like I want to spend money today. I've got a bit of money. Like I got a bit of a bonus at work recently, and not like massive, but it's enough that I can kind of treat myself to a few CDs or something, And so with that in mind, I was looking and. No. Anyway, the other things I've bought. Stephen Malkmus's first solo album, which I think is just called Stephen Malkmus. Stephen Malkmus by Stephen Malkmus. Looks so young there. He looks younger there than he did when he was in the Pavement in the 90s. Now, this came out about in 1999. This was after Pavement broke up for the first time. 2001, sorry. Yeah, 99 was Twilight Terrors, wasn't it? So it was obviously after that. So they released Twilight Terrors, Pavement in 99, and then they broke up not long after, and then he recorded a solo album. Now it says here Jicks, because sometimes he's referred to as Stephen Malkmus and the Jicks. Yeah. Now, I remember when this came out, he came to New Zealand and toured this album, this album. I didn't go to the shows because I was a poor student at the time. I would have guessed of 2001. I was at university. Are they the Jicks? Are the Jicks girls? 2 girls and a guy? Dirty Jicks. S. Malkmus. Joanna Bolm, which is a her, looking down. John Moen, which is that guy down there. And Heather Larimer, which is the other girl looking at the camera. I gave you a continuous present. Well, you didn't, but... what was the single off this? There was one single that was released. I think it was The Hook. It's not really showing up, is it? The light's shining, sorry. Beyond the single that was released for this, I don't think I've ever heard anything else. But I like Pavement a lot. Pavement at one stage were one of my favorite bands in the world, kind of back around that time, around the late 90s. I mean, when I was in high school, I bought Bright in the Corners, and I love that album. And still now I love that album. So yeah. How much was that? X, I can't remember what the price. Sale price X was 4. That was definitely 3. Sale price X I think was 4. Then they had the blue dot, which was 6, and the green dot, which was 8. And there might have been one more anyway. And the last thing, well, not the last thing, but at this shop the last thing is a queensryche album. And some people call this era shitryche. This is the era where Jeff Tate kind of took over. I think Chris Gamo had gone. Yes, Q2K, Kelly Gray was in the band. And Chris Gamo, excuse me, I had dinner, now I'm kind of burping. Chris Gamo left after, what was the one, was it Promised Land? The one after Empire. Empire was 90, 91. Then they released this other one in 94. I think it was Promised Land. And it didn't do very well. And Chris Gamo just felt burnt out, I think. No, not 94. I think I'm getting my things mixed up here. Maybe it was 97. No, maybe Tribe. Fuck it, I don't know. He left somewhere around that, but he did come back for another album. I think he came back for Tribe. And basically none of those albums did as well as Empire, because Empire was the one that had Silent Lucidity on it, and they'd kind of built up to Empire through the 80s, certainly the late 80s, with the one that's red, which I can't remember the name right now, the one that's got Dreaming in Infrared and New Regal and Screaming in Digital, that album. And then obviously Operation Mindcrime, which was pretty big. I think it sold over 1 million albums or something, for a pretty proggy album. Not proggy, but kind of like quite long songs. That was pretty good. And then they kind of hit the big time with Empire, because that song Silent Lucidity was huge. But maybe that world tour kind of burnt them out, and certainly burnt out Chris Gamo, and he just kind of didn't want to do it anymore. And he was kind of the songwriting genius of the band. And that's certainly evident, because every album after he left was progressively worse. And the space that Gamo filled, it seemed Jeff Tate kind of stepped in and brought in outside songwriters, and the other guys like Michael Wilton and the other two, Eddie Jackson and the drummer, Scott, can't remember, Rockenfeld, they progressively were writing less and less. Like if you look at the early albums, Michael Wilton actually had quite a few writing credits. And then it kind of shrunk down, and the whole vision of the band, Jeff Tate kind of took over as the leader, and he would say that was because he had to, and if it wasn't for him, that the band would have fallen apart, and that kind of, there might be some truth to that. However, there's no getting around it. The music did get pretty bad, especially that last album of that era, Dedicated to Chaos, I think it was called. Yes, Dedicated to Chaos. And that after that, they kicked him out. The other guys kicked him out of the band. Which I think I've talked about. I think the very first video I ever did on this channel was a Queensryche video. the drama around Queensryche is more interesting than the music they were producing. In saying that, they got a new lease on life since Todd Latore joined. I haven't kept up as much, but those first three albums, the first one, which I think was self-titled, and then I can't remember the names of them now. The first two or three albums after he joined, the band sounded completely reinvigorated, re-energized, and they are doing some really good music. Anyway, I don't want to turn this into the Queensryche show, but what I got here is Q2K, which sounds very dated now, doesn't it? You know, using the reference of Y2K. Looking at those songs, I've heard Liquid Sky. And maybe Beside You. They might be the only two songs I've ever heard of this. They're still on Atlantic Records at this time. That's interesting. I thought they had lost their major label after Promised Land. No, because I guess in that time, in those days, they gave you had a lot more rope, a lot more line on the rod, didn't you? Like, even if you had a few failures, you wouldn't get immediately booted off the label. But like I said, this is on this album, I think Kelly Gray was the guitarist. I think that's him there. And Kelly Gray, he's kind of retarded, these things, the pictures. I can't tell who's who. That's Jeff Tate. He's cut his hair. That's Kelly Gray because he's shaved head. I think that's Eddie Jackson, and that must be Michael Wilton, and that must be Scott Rockenfield as kind of microchips, silicon chips. Jeff, Kelly. He was a kind of friend of Jeff Tate, Kelly Gray, and I think he'd been in a band with him in like the early 80s when they were kids. And Kelly Gray kind of worked in production, I think. I think he produced a Candlebox album. Not the big one that had Far Behind. I think the one after that. I think Happy Pills, or maybe was it? And he did some other... Anyway, Jeff Tate had this kind of... this habit or tendency to kind of almost like yes men or guys that he could trust, and even though they showed themselves to be shit and not very good at their jobs, he would keep them around. One of them was Kelly Gray and the other one was Jason Slater. And I've talked about Jason Slater on this channel before as well, in the Snake Well Conspiracy, I think is the name of that band he was in. And they both, I don't know. I don't want to go into about Queensryche too much. Anyway, that was the same price. I think both $4 each. The reason I got this is because I've never seen this before. It's rare to find post-Empire Queensryche albums. It's quite rare to find any Queensryche albums, but if you did look and the one in the shops, the ones you'd find would be Operation Mindcrime and Empire. And I've never seen this one before. And I probably would never see it again, so that's why I picked it up. It's only $4. And like I said, there's something about Queensryche that I've always been drawn to them, and I've always given them a lot of chances. Anyway, so that was from Real Groovy, and then so I finished there. Then I left quite disappointed because I spent $11 there on 3 CDs, which is a good bargain. And those are not, those are certainly not bad CDs, but I wanted to get something. I wanted Ween. And what else? I was looking for the other album I've been looking for years now, the Men I Trust album, the Untourable album. I don't think I'm ever going to find that. But I'm looking for a new, I'm willing to pay $30 for it. Same thing with Ween. I also looked at the electronic section because sometimes, you might find something interesting there. So then the last one? Yes, the last one is quite a hike up a hill So I walked all the way up there, got very hot, and looked at their secondhand CD area as well as their new CD area. No, I wasn't expecting Ween there, but no Ween, no Men I Trust, and nothing else really of note either in the new CD section. The secondhand section, not really, basically. And then out of the corner of my eye, I noticed there's a little kind of cabinet box thing next to where I was standing, and it said $1 CDs, $2 CDs, $5 new CDs. I thought, what's this? So I looked at the $1 and $2 CDs, and they were just terrible. They were as bad as anything you'd find in a charity shop. You know, I could see why they were pricing them low. And then the $5 CDs, this stood out to me because that's an interesting cover. And I had no idea what it was or who it was. It said Netflix. I go, okay, so this is obviously a soundtrack of some sort, I would assume, and this is all Japanese. But I see here Yasuke. And then what I kind of read, kind of skimmed around. I see Yasuke, and then what did I see? I saw Flying Lotus mentioned somewhere. Anyway, music from the Netflix original anime series. It doesn't say exactly what, but it says here, see Flying Lotus. I assume Flying Lotus has done all the stuff, and I've liked a lot of the stuff I've heard. I haven't heard a Flying Lotus album from end to end ever. I've heard songs here and there that come up on Spotify, especially random. Sometimes I'll be listening to something out, and it'll suggest to me Flying Lotus. I think I downloaded an album of his when I was living overseas, I remember. But the thing that, it's only, originally, this is interesting though, originally $38. Got it for $5. FO's Flying Out. This is at Flying Out Records. The thing that pushed me over the line to get it was that little symbol there, Warp. Now, if something's by Warp Records, I will 100 times out of 100 times give it the benefit of the doubt, especially if it's only $5. Because Warp, I think, is a symbol of quality. And I haven't listened to every Warp release, certainly, but obviously Boards of Canada are a Warp act, and probably my favorite artists of all time. And then a lot of other artists I like, and I've got a lot of kind of Warp compilations and things, and I'm willing to give it a gamble. If they've put their stamp of approval on it and released it, then I'm going to trust that it's at least somewhat decent. So yeah, $5 for that, new. That's pretty good. It's still sealed. So I'm in a hotel, so I've got no CD player. That's a shame. So I can't listen to them. But I'll do that when I go home tomorrow. Probably get home around lunchtime tomorrow after everything's done and my appointment's finished. And hopefully tonight I can have a good sleep in my hotel room, 31, I'm on the 31st level. 31 levels above Auckland City. Yeah. Is there anything I should say? Hang on, I should turn this off, but it gets too much reflection otherwise. You know what they don't have? I was looking forward to having, well, we don't have cable TV in New Zealand, but we have something called Sky TV, which I guess is the same thing as cable TV. Like they have a movie channel and sports channels and ESPN and yada, yada, yada. And I was looking forward to it because every hotel I've ever stayed in my life has had Sky TV. It's like one of the, you assume it. And I turn on TV here and they've only got regular bloody, I don't know what you call it, terrestrial TV? I don't think it is terrestrial anymore. I think it's all satellite, but it's free TV, I guess. I was looking forward to an evening of relaxing on bed and watching things that I don't usually have a chance to watch, but oh well. I'll just look out the window at the city. You can see the highway, that motorway, those cars are moving quickly over that thing over there. You can see the headlights flash or going past. That's the Victoria Park flyover. I drive over there every day when I go to work. What road is that? I think that's College Hill, going up that kind of line, going zoop. That's College Hill going up to Ponsonby, which is another area, the rich area. That's a hotel, Ridges. That's a hotel down there with the blue light. That's the Sky Tower Hotel. I think there's 2 or 3 hotels down by the casino. There's a bus. Got a dirty roof. Anything else interesting to point out? Yeah, probably more interesting was daytime, because you got to see down there is a marina, West Haven Marina. And there's hundreds of yachts moored there. And there's a kind of like a harbour over here, like where the port is, and like I said, that's maybe. I wonder if anyone up there is looking down, looking at me right now. They probably well, obviously the lights are off, they couldn't see shit. But if the lights were on, that's a car park. Now, is that interesting? What's building's that? Claire Point. No idea what Claire Point is. Is that a double-decker bus? I think it's a double-decker bus. They have double-decker buses that go across the bridge connecting the North Shore to the city. What's that yellow light down there? Can't see, too far away. Anyway, we'll leave it there because I'm sure no one is really interested in this. Well, I am. I'm interested, but I mean, no one watching this is particularly interested, really. Zoom. That's Albert Street down there. And there underneath there is a new train tunnel. They're building an underground train system, but an underground train system overstates. It's like a little loop of underground track that kind of goes around the central part of the city, a few kilometers, and it runs directly underneath, or the first part runs directly underneath this road. But it's not finished. It won't be finished for a year or 2 yet. Anyway, something different, eh? Coming to you from the A Hotel in the central city of Auckland, New Zealand, Aotearoa, South Pacific. We see anyone over here doing anything interesting in these rooms? Is that someone sitting at a sewing machine, or is it just? Oh no, there's a person. That is a person. What's he doing? Is that a bathroom? Surely not. I don't know what that building is. I think it's an apartment building. Maybe he's cooking food. A lot of the apartments in this area, especially this area, this side of town, the kind of the east side of the main part of town, are shitholes. They're shoebox apartments that they have, in the last 3 or 4 years, have been using for emergency housing. And emergency housing means like people who can't afford a house to rent. The government basically gives them somewhere to live. And of course, in principle, I agree with that. What do you mean agree? I think that's a good thing. You don't want people homeless, especially people who've got children. However, not all those people, but a big enough minority of them are, scumbags, basically. And they treat everything given to them like shit. They have no consideration for the people around them. They've turned a lot of these apartment blocks into like fucking ghettos. Like, cops are constantly getting called out. There's selling drugs out of their apartments, and which is a shame, because that gives a bad name to the people who obviously don't do that, which I said, it's only a minority, but it has made this side of the city that if I was to turn around and look at that side, which is black because there's a wall, but if I was to show you, that's the main part of the city, which is where the university is and then shopping areas, that's okay, but this side, especially along that road there, is not so good at the moment. Anyway, don't need my socio-economic opinions. We'll leave it there. Thank you for watching.